So the final question is number 6. The response during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell hearings from the Marines was particularly negative and less so with the Navy. Is there a particular reason? I can only give you my personal opinion on that. My personal opinion is that there is a tone, an environment, and an expectation about character and behavior within each of the individual services. The more combat-oriented the service, the more regimental it's going to be. And the Marines and the Air Force are all about weaponry and striking targets. And while the Air Force was a little more positive in their reaction, they are a little more regimental because they send out the pilots to go hit the targets, right? But the Marines are very, they kind of have this one team, I don't know, it's a singular mentality, I guess. And that comes from the top down. It comes from the leadership down. So if the leadership says something is going to be bad for the combat troops, then that's what you're going to see. Reflected from the ground troops. And I think, in my own personal opinion, that when the survey was given, that you have a bunch of young people who are indoctrinated into the Marine Corps. There's even if you ever get a chance to see it, I don't remember the name of it, but there is a documentary about the Marine Corps boot camp, and it's very much, it's not necessarily brainwashing, but they do what they call breaking you down before they build you up. And what that does is it removes your own personal identity in order to make you uniform. And the Marine Corps maintains that uniform mentality through most of their career. So if somebody tells you at the top that something is bad, it's going to be harder for you to come up with your own opinion on it, especially when you're still around other Marines. The closer you are and the more time you spend together, the harder it's going to be for those individual opinions to break through and reset that tone. The Navy, on the other hand, is probably one of the most technologically savvy services. You have to be. You have computers and communications and weaponry and engineering and mechanics and all of this, manufacturing on ships and dealing with planes. And, so you have to be kind of independent-minded. You have to be able to problem solve on your own. You have to be kind of original and creative. And it's not just breaking down a rifle and rebuilding it. It's, gosh, we need something built for this particular piece of machinery. Can you grab whatever materials available and create a new part? I mean, you actually have machinery shops on board ships where they build parts from scratch, okay? So, and they do have IT departments in the Navy where, they have to develop software and they have to be able to fix software, and you have, the Navy requires a lot more individuality at some point. It's still a regimental environment where, being the military is concerned. You still have people above you, you still have orders to follow, but there is a level of individuality that you're not expected to spend all your time with your shipmates. I mean, when you go to sea, you're forced to be with them. So when you get back, you don't not always necessarily want to hang out with them. I think that's why when the survey came back, you saw that difference in attitude. You have people who are a lot more independent-minded. They spend a lot more time on computers. They're a lot more exposed to the world around, a lot more open-minded to things, just by the very nature of who the Navy attracts. I don't know if you got anything out of this answer. I tried to be as kind of complete as I could, but I think that's why there was that difference.